My name is Chris Principe. I'm from Financial IT, and I'm really pleased to be here today with iGTB Intellect and my good friend Manish. Manish, how are you?
Very good, Chris. Good to see you again.
Good, thank you. It's a great event, and really pleased that you have a little time for us at Financial IT. So I have a couple of burning questions.
Sure.
The first one that I have is, with the solutions and with your approach to the market, what do you find some of the benefits of being at an event like Sibos?
I think the way we look at Sibos is it's almost revalidating our research during the year, what the customer key pain points are. We start the event with an advisory board where we have a select 50-60 core customers who've been helping us build our forward strategy. It helps us to validate here, know what the pain points of the banks are. It becomes a lead for me to invest forward. Research is a very important aspect for me. So that's one aspect of it. Second is always meeting your customers. This is the best place to do that. It's almost like some people say speed dating, but I say it's reinforcing relationships. You meet them so often, so quick. So I have really enjoyed. This is my 8th Sibos, but I've enjoyed it.
But myself also, I find the same things at Sibos, and it's really interesting, your approach, because it's very much customer centric.
Yes.
And I really, one of the things that I took away from you said is that you have this approach with the advisory board.
Yes.
Which is quite interesting. So if you can you articulate a little bit for us the specific strategy that you have in approaching the banks and helping them with solutions?
I think we re-ratified our strategy of Digital 360, which I talked to you about last year in this advisory board. And where we're looking at is not only getting the best customer experience for our customers, for their banks. We won multiple awards in the last year on customer experience. But also, I think a lot of investment has gone into how do you make digital in the bank. Primarily, how do you reduce costs for banks? The problem is cost to income. The problem is improving your ROE and reducing risk. We've invested in newer technologies which are built on machine learning, artificial intelligence, doing natural language processing to go out into deep world and bring back data and help put some meaningful information for doing enhanced due diligence for customers. We've just shown it to, I think, about 15, 16 banks between yesterday and today. And I've had, out of that, 10 banks have done 2 meetings already. And I've got 3rd meeting, a number of them lined up. So it hits the pain point straight away. An example is to do some of this due diligence. Banks are now, because of the fines being imposed, I think last year, from what I understand, it's about 13 billion plus because of AML and KYC. And banks are really putting so much manual labor behind it to be able to do that remediation and research it. We're able to remove the false positives out of it and go out and get a meaningful information for the CRO to take decisions. So it's been very exciting. We partnered and invested in a company out of Silicon Valley through which we have brought this innovation in. So that's one new investment we have done. The second, I'm right now working on some blockchain for supply chain finance. I'm not sure where is it headed, but we put in our first few dollars onto it.
But I tell you, it's an exciting strategy, and the first thing that hits me is what you finished with, which is blockchain. And of course, most people associate it with the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies, but the distributed financial ledgers, is a powerful technology.
Correct.
And I think that applying that to supply chain finance is a very interesting strategy. I wish you much success with it.
Yeah.
So you kind of gave us a little peek for the future. What are some of the other things that you think are going to be game changers going forward, particularly for how you help your customers?
I think our focus is, as I'm meeting every customer, how do I help you generate more revenue? How do I help you reduce cost, and how do I help you improve your customer experience? It's all tied to these 3 key pillars for me. If my customer grows, I will grow. So it's helping my customers in this tough market, and regulations are really bogging down. So that's where we've taken leap on investments. I think another product, like I was talking to you about supply chain, where we've now made investments, is on risk participation, on doing analytics for the risk managers. Because as the trade piece is becoming, the traditional trade, all of us know, is getting challenged. People are jumping into supply chain, but there are fears around it. So how do you help them to track the transaction better, And that's where I believe blockchain will really make a difference for them.
Manish, I also wanted to ask you, I understand that you have an announcement and it's a really interesting product innovation. Let you speak to our audience for a little bit.
Yeah, we've invested on the iWatch Apple. I think we initially had it available across other Apple devices. This year we've invested on, and we have a CBX application on an iWatch. So here is where a transaction can be initiated or authorized. So it goes as seamlessly across all channels, and blends in very well.
I'll tell you, it's very impressive, and it seems to fit very much with your digital 360 strategy. Can you give us a little bit on the vision for this within digital 360, inside and out?
So this is where the customer experience of initiating a transaction when you are on a run, how you authorize it. I'm outside as a treasurer, I'm outside, and somebody in my accounts payable has initiated a transaction. I could authorize it while I'm traveling. So that's the convenience of it. And I've seen a real good takeoff on iWatches of how customers are leveraging it. Especially for the SME business, somebody who's always on a run, it makes a huge sense to remain connected and do everything.
No, that's quite exciting, and we hope to see a lot more of this going forward in the future. I just wanted to thank you very much for the time that you've given us at Financial IT. And Manish, always a pleasure to get a chance to speak to you.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chris Principe, Financial IT at Sibos 2015.